Hi there, this is the Heir of Carthage bringing you yet another Rome Total War online battle with commentary. I am once again facing my opponent as the Carthaginians. Big surprise. I have 5 units of Sacred Band Hoplites, 4 units of Pointy Infantry, 4 units of Slingers, and 4 units of Sacred Band Cavalry. Let's take a look at my opponent's army. My opponent is B.S. Andrew. He has, looks like, altogether 5 units of cataphracts. He has 5 units of archers, 5 units of silver shield pikemen, and 4 units of silver shield legionnaires. I was a little bit worried when this battle started because of how many missile troops he had, but I decided to run forward and displace his missile troops to give me a momentary break from the showering of arrows. I was also a little bit worried about his cavalry. Cataphracts are very tough horses to break, as you can see just by their looks. Sacred Band is great cavalry, but really no match for cataphracts on a one-on-one basis. So we're going to start out the battle with some missile skirmishing, and I'm going to use my slingers to strike at his archers. You can see us trading fire there. See a few of my slingers get cut down. Over here you can see that I've concentrated my 2 units of slingers onto 1 unit of archers, and I deplete them very quickly. And this is going to be my strategy in the missile duel. Archers are better than slingers in a lot of respects, but when you get close and you can concentrate the slinger fire, they're pretty tough. Over here you can see I'm depleting that unit pretty quickly too. I've moved on to this unit on this side. I've already got it down to 23 and dropping. So as you can see, I'm quickly turning the tides of the missile duel in my favor. Now, what did my opponent do wrong that allowed me to do this? Well, first of all, he targeted my, or at least I believe he targeted my Sacred Band infantry with his arrows on a frontal assault, which was about as useful as shooting an arrow at a brick wall, because Sacred Band hoplites are almost immune to missiles from the front because of their armor. So he brings in his cataphracts to make a strike at my slingers to silence them, because they're quickly decimating his missile troops, but I make a move with my pointy to let him know that he is welcome to come on in on this flank. But for some odd reason, he doesn't take my invitation. That was rather rude of him, don't you think? So in any case, anyway, I'm using my slingers to aim at his cataphracts on the other side. Don't intend to cause too much damage, just mainly to harass them. My slingers on the other side are targeting his infantry troops. So right there you saw an interesting scenario where when the archers weren't treated right, 5 units of archers were defeated by 4 units of slingers. So here I'm moving my Sacred Band cavalry out a bit to try and lure him into a fight. I of course want to lure him into a fight as close to my pointy infantry, and even with the pointy there I have to be careful about not getting surrounded because cataphracts are so tough even in a melee fight. However, if you can get them to go head on the front of a phalanx, it's going to give you a big advantage. If you'll notice, I'm holding my army back. I don't want to engage him yet because he's making threatening moves with his cataphracts, and quite honestly, if all of my infantry isn't engaged and he makes a move with his cataphracts, then I have a much better chance of killing them. So I'm just going to keep my troops idle unless he attacks me, and here he brings in the first assault. His cataphracts come in, I'm going to turn my pointy on him. They run away quickly. At this point, he seems pretty worried about my slingers, which I guess they could make a difference if I get to the flanks of his army, but right now they're really not the most concerning unit on the battlefield, in my opinion. He should be more worried about my elite infantry and my cavalry. So anyway, he's continuing to make harassing moves with his cataphracts, as you can see. I'll try and get you a better angle of this. Now, during the battle, what's some advice for people who play, even though I'm not the best? I can give you this advice. I played the battle from this viewpoint so that I can watch his cavalry and his infantry at the same time. As you can see, he goes to make a cavalry charge in the rear, and I'm going to swamp him with my pointy and my Sacred Bands. You can defeat cataphracts in this manner by overwhelming them in isolated groups. He shouldn't have let them get isolated. He should have presented one strong front, and I'm not allowing myself to be lured away from my defensive phalanx lines. So see, my cavalry are engaging him, but my pointy are always nearby to back up the effort. See, here I engage him and I bring in pointy, and here again I bring in pointy. So his cataphracts are going to suffer greatly. And in fact, they're going to rout because they were outnumbered and outmatched. So he finally comes in and gets the unit of slingers he wanted. But as far as a trade for 3 units of cataphracts to 2 units of slingers, I will gladly make that trade. And my Sacred Band is there to take care of them should they make the mistake of coming in close. And they did. So I'm going to turn my Sacred Band into them and teach them a lesson. This is why you have to be very careful, even with cataphracts, around phalanx troops. As you can see, even though cataphracts are tough, and they've got their maces out, they're facing into a spear phalanx, and that's going to be quite bad for them. Not to mention it ties them up when they could be used elsewhere on the battlefield. So I've pretty much decimated his force of cataphracts, and I'm chasing them in the back to get rid of the stragglers, because I don't want them coming back and making hammer and anvil assaults. Here, one of his silver shield pikemen is already down to 15 from my slingers harassing them, so my slingers did continue to work while everyone else was busy. And as you can see, these unit of slingers are going to, or 2 units of slingers are going to rout an elite phalanx unit. So missile troops can sometimes pull their own weight if they're in the right position. Now see, Silver Shield Legionnaire, or Silver Shield Pikemen don't have near as much frontal protection against missiles. So that's one of the reasons why my slingers were able to harass him so much. So here, his last unit of cataphracts is trying to get away. I routed, and then I have all my Sacred Band cavalry together, and I'm still going to stay away from these 2 regrouped units of cataphracts because I want to be careful. Now, as far as an infantry fight goes, I know that if I can get rid of his cavalry, even without my cavalry, my infantry could probably crush his Sacred Band spearmen, or Sacred Band hoplites are extremely good in an infantry fight as well against cavalry. And against Silver Shields, to me, it's almost no match, unless the Silver Shields have superior positioning or upgrades. The Sacred Band are going to win every time. So in any case, I'm going to go ahead and start the infantry engagement here in a moment, and I'm just trying to finish off his cataphracts, like I said, to make sure that I'm not going to have any distractions when the infantry fight begins. So as you can see, he's going to go ahead and start the phalanx fight, which is okay. I'll let him come forward. It seems like phalanxes do better when they're stationary. So he's sending in his Silver Shield Legionnaires to attack this flank of Sacred Band spearmen, and that's really not a good idea. Legionnaires are only going to be good against my flanks, and since he sent them against this unit of Sacred Band, I'm going to engage them to fix them into place, and then I'm going to bring in the kicker, which is going to be the pointy infantry right here, and he sees that, and so he runs away. Very good move. Those men would have been slaughtered very quickly. But in any case, he's still going to get caught right here in a vice with a lot of spears, and those Legionnaires are going to forever curse the name of their commander for allowing them to be caught in such a trap. And my men are going to take pleasure in sending them to the afterworld, where they will be tormented for not having been the type of soldiers that they should be. These Silver Shield Legionnaires are doing what they're supposed to do by hitting my pointy in the flanks, but as you can see, my slingers are going to take advantage of throwing rocks at people's back. A very noble profession, as that attacking a man in the back is always the most noble thing to do. But I guess I'm not beneath that. So with one massive hammer and anvil strike there, I rout pretty much all of the enemy infantry. They were fixed in place by my phalanx, which makes it a great time to do a hammer and anvil. Some players have tried hammer and anvil, including myself, when the infantry is not fixed in place, and you will not be successful unless you just have pure shock value that routs the enemy. If the infantry is fixed into place and then hit from the rear by heavy cavalry, then they most likely will rout. Here comes his last unit of cataphracts on a glory charge, and of course they're going to be destroyed. So you can see, due to my patience and superior tactics in this battle, I was able to overcome my opponent's equal, if not better, forces in some ways. He definitely had a missile advantage that he didn't capitalize on, and he had a cavalry advantage that he was unable to capitalize on. So then it came down to a slogfest between infantry forces, which he had absolutely no chance of winning. So as you can see, that was a clear victory for me. I had 1,501 kills, while my opponent, BS Andrew, had 538 kills. Good game to BS Andrew.